Welcome to the City of St. Albans official podcast from the desk of Mayor James, a podcast dedicating to adding context and commentary to the important issues here in St. Albans, West Virginia. In each episode, we'll sit down with the St. Albans Mayor, Scott James, and discuss relevant and important topics related to the city and, of course, highlight upcoming events here in town. I'm your co-host, Anthony Romeo, and we do hope this inside look at our city's government helps you feel more engaged with your community. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're out there on Spotify, Apple, Google, and many more. And of course, each episode we'll make available on our city's website at stalbanswv.com/podcast. With that said, let's welcome our host, the Honorable Mayor Scott James. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Tony, how you doing,
man? Oh, man, it's a happy new year, isn't it?
It is a wonderful new year. You know, we just look for bigger and better things in 2023.
I was going to ask, are you still writing 2022, or have you gotten used to the 3 in there now?
I do. I got used to the 2023. As a matter of fact, I never did write 2022. The older I get, I guess the better I get at that.
Well, you can always mess with people and just put 202.
Yeah.
And leave them guessing when it was written. But no, I mean, looking back on 2022, it was a crazy exciting year here in town with everything going on. I mean, a lot of firsts. You had big events. You have all kinds of advancements here in town in many of the areas.
Yeah, we really did. And I've got some of these articles that have been written about St. Albans framed in my office. But West Virginia Living did a nice article. Executive Magazine, which is arguably the finest business magazine in the state of West Virginia, did an article on Canal Valley, and we had about 4 or 5 paragraphs where they talked about Yak Fest and some different things. Mm-hmm. Had a great article in the Charleston Gazette Mail about the young entrepreneurs and all the happenings that's going on Old Main and throughout St. Albans. Mm-hmm. So it was a very exciting year, and so we got to build on that momentum.
Absolutely, forward momentum, as I like to call it.
Yes.
So I mean, even I heard a rumor that particular article with the young entrepreneurs actually had what they call a citation or a mention in the Washington Post recently, from what I understand.
Well, that was a different.
That was a different article.
That was a different one.
Okay.
They Cold River Coffee.
Sure.
Actually won a contest on small business. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of the organization, but it's a national organization. And they came down and did a video with Michael and Rachel,
right?
Myself and some others. And it is being seen nationally. And Michael told us this evening at the Yak Fest meeting, we had a Yak Fest meeting before this one. It's
Absolutely.
Never ending. And that we got a mention it was either the Washington Times or Washington Post.
But that's great news, because it sheds a light and gives a nice little spotlight on St. Albans.
Sure it does.
On a national stage, which is highly important to, our events, our community, everything that's going on here that we can have on that level makes it even better, because it's shining a light on our town, which is awesome.
It does, and then that shines a light on the state of West Virginia.
Absolutely. And recently, you mentioned real quickly before we dig into this week's or this month's episode, something about that phrase "kindness lives here." I think that and you're talking about it as well. I think that's going to be a common theme that may take off and make it pretty much an official type of nomenclature around here, right?
Yeah, really and truthfully is. We're going to redo the signs as you come into the east and west end of St. Albans with our new logo, but also we're going to have "Kindness Lives Here."
Oh, that's perfect.
And I cannot remember, there was an individual that says we need to do that, and I cannot remember their name, and I want to thank them very much for that. If you do hear this, please let me know so I can give you credit.
Absolutely, yes.
But when people sit back and take an objective look at what's happening in St. Albans, kindness does live here.
It sure does.
It's not a perfect community. There's not one out there. But I'm going to tell you what, the acts of kindness that, be it through city government departments or be it through individuals or be it through organizations, it's amazing what happens.
It absolutely does. I mean, recently our men and women in blue at the police station, they rallied around a young lady who was seeking donors, for organs and stuff like that, and they had No Shave November.
Right.
And that to me is a good outreach, because here's this department rallying around a citizen in her struggle, and it speaks of kindness lives here.
Yeah, I've spoke to her husband numerous times, and I actually bought T-shirts and some spices and stuff. They sold those over there, but she's a teacher by trade. Mm-hmm. She hasn't been able to teach, and she has to get these organ transplants to where she can get back in the classroom. That's what she wants to do, get healthy and go serve. I was going to say, she's serving the community. So, we'll definitely keep her in our thoughts and prayers on, moving forward. But speaking of the police department, we have a big event this weekend. Huge, a long-awaited event. That new police headquarters will be officially open. There's a ribbon cutting and an open house. Yes.
Exciting times.
10 o'clock this Saturday morning. We'll begin hopefully sharply at 10. And we'll have some speakers from Capito's office, Manchin's office. Delegate Hall from St. Albans is going to read a proclamation, and a couple other speakers. And then we're going to open the building up, and we'll have guided tours for people to walk through and see this newest, nicest, state-of-the-art police station in West Virginia. It's unbelievable. And, what people have got to understand is, we got 16,500 square foot built out to our specifications for $1.9 million. To build that from the ground up, you're looking at $7 to $8 million. And it is state of the art, that is for sure. And but what's more important is every computer, every desk, every chair, every piece of workout equipment down in the gym, that we furnished that building with, appliances in the kitchen, everything has been through donation or through seizure funds, where the police department gets a percentage of funds that they're involved in the arrest. Right. Okay, so this hadn't came out of taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt the coffer.
No, it doesn't. The $1.9 million, obviously, we're going to pay that through the city, but it's exciting what's going on. And when the original police station was built, it was built when we had 13 officers. Now we have 26.
26, yeah.
And each shift has their own office now. Each officer has their own computer. I'm telling you, man, we got the courtroom over there, a training room that is fantastic, and actually that's going to allow us to generate some income.
I was going to mention that they're actually going to be able to reserve that out for law enforcement training and other events as well.
Fire department, anybody wants to utilize it. And what happens is we'll bring in a speaker, say from North Carolina or whatever, on a certain topic. Mm-hmm. And we put him up in the hotel, and he's, has a fee for his training. Mm-hmm. All right, and we get 3 to 5 free entries into the training with our officers. But departments from around the state will pay to come to this training. Yeah. Then we cover the expenses of the speaker, and then the rest of it goes back into the training budget.
That's perfect.
Which allows us to be able to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. And it keeps the shining light in town. It shines that focus back in St. Albans, and those resources kind of complete the cycle at that point, as far as coming back into the community of a law enforcement resource. You have better trained officers that can serve and better protect.
Yes.
Than the community at that point.
And the community overall is very excited about this. You got a few naysayers.
Yeah, let them talk.
Let them talk all they want. But I guarantee you, when they need them, they'll be thankful that the police are there. That's for sure. And going to be, like I said, extremely well trained, and just does a tremendous job. So, everybody free up Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, and it's going to be awesome.
And we should have some good weather, from what I understand. That should be, a pretty decent day.
Yeah, decent day for January.
Absolutely. This kind of unpredictable weather that starts out rainy, then goes to sun, then turns back to rain, and who knows what else during the day. It's
You're
crazy.
right.
It's crazy. I'm ready for sunshine. But you mentioned the new courtroom. Actually, the municipal court is actually moving with them. And
Yes.
there's a very sweet spot in that story because it's going to be dedicated to a former councilman, Desper Lemon, correct?
That is correct. Council voted on that at the last meeting.
Great.
It's very important that we dedicate that to someone that was a huge part of serving St. Albans and the citizens of St. Albans, but also were big supporters of the police department.
Yeah.
And Desper loved the policeman, and actually, when he was younger, I think he was an auxiliary policeman.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. And it's kind of cool when you're out on social. Sometimes you see images from years past, and there was one from, I think it was either the 1980s or the 1970s of the police department and the old Capri Classic car and the long light strip, and somewhere they were standing, but just to see some of the familiar faces of former police officers, and it was like a flashback, and it was really cool. So, but I mean, what a great concept that's going to happen here. I mean, we're going to get a better headquarters, more equipped, more state of the art equipment. I mean, it's just going to be a win-win all the way around, and the public gets to see it this weekend.
They do, and that's who's going to benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the citizens of St. Albans.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a win-win. So, another thing that is actually improving around town is you're noticing a lot of these, I would just call them, dead buildings. They're
Right.
gone. I mean, they're just flat land. There's now an empty lot with the DEP, dilapidated structure initiative that we've got going on. From what I understand, there's actually some more structures that are going to be, taken down pretty soon. That's kind of keeping going and moving forward still, correct? Yeah?
Yep, that is correct. We've got several more on the list that's already been pretty much approved. The funding from the DEP has been a tremendous asset to us. We were doing it before then, but I believe that's one of the reasons that we did get the amount of money, $540,000 that we did, was because the program that we had started to where we would pay for the demolition and the property owner would pay for the salvage fees or dump fees, and then we take that money, put it back in, and that would allow us to tear more. So the DEP was impressed with that. To be honest with you, the three cities that are tearing down more structures than the other cities in the state of West Virginia are St. Albans, Nitro, and Princeton.
Yep.
Those are the three big ones.
Absolutely. And and it actually kind of says, hey, something like this can work statewide.
Yes.
And we're a prime example.
Yeah, I was up to the legislature, and there's a lot of talk about throwing even more money into
that's wonderful.
Fund.
That is wonderful. It's money well spent, I think, too, because when you start looking at areas where you can improve, the community and do something about blight,
yes,
and it just raises your level of civic pride.
Yeah, blight's a major problem in West Virginia as well as other states. But I give the legislature, the DEP, State Auditor J.B. McCuskey was important in this issue to get this money to fund tearing down this blight, these dilapidated buildings that when somebody comes to look at your community possibly moving there and they see that, then that's a deterrent.
Absolutely.
And now we're getting these torn down, so it just beautifies our city and it makes it more receptive to people moving into the area.
Totally agree. And as far as the visitation of the city, it improves the impression people have when they come here.
Definitely.
That they take away with them to tell their friends and family and whatever about the impression of St. Albans.
Yeah.
So let's carefully address the big elephant in the room here.
Yeah.
Speaking of blight, abandoned building, safety, all kinds of stuff, it's a kind of a bittersweet topic around here, is the junior high building.
The old St. Albans Junior High building. This has been an ongoing battle with the owner. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to mention any names. It's out there for public information. People can look it up. But he has thrown hurdles in our way all along, and we're in the legal process. We were actually supposed to close on that building last Thursday, but come to find out, some back taxes erode, so we're going to have to determine if we want to pay those back taxes. And if we do, which I think we should, our attorney thinks we should, so we can gain control of it and get it torn down as quickly as possible. So, you know, the law's there for a reason, but sometimes it does get in the way of progress.
It does. And, you know, with something that large of a structure, I mean, there's logistic craziness nightmare that's going to have to happen in that. So the better, the quicker the better to start that planning at that point. You know.
And, you know, the final say will be on council once we get it torn down, what we're going to do with it. One of the options I have, I'd like to subdivide it into maybe 3 lots, build some new single-dwelling homes, not rental property, and start bringing property values up in that area. You know, but again, final say will be up to council.
Sure.
And it'll be quite the discussion, but whatever we decide will be for the best for St. Albans.
Yeah, I totally agree. And sometimes I wonder is like, okay, what type of community structure or community grants are available to actually possibly put another community center there?
And that's a possibility. You know, there's a lot of money flowing down. It's difficult to get hold of.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody reads the headlines, this money's coming down and this money's coming down. But there's a lot of stipulations out there.
Sure,
and we're in the process of looking at and applying for a lot of fundage for different areas, for infrastructure, for water and sewer, for sidewalks, different things like that. So we're going to get some of it. How much of it we're going to get, I don't know. I know we're looking actually for an outside source. You know, we've set aside some ARPA money to tear down the junior high.
Nice.
But if I can get some outside funds from another batch of money to tear that down, then that's going to free up the $500,000 that we approved to tear the junior high down to do some other things here in the community.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I'd like to turf girls softball field up at City Park myself.
Hey, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But we'll have to see what happens and which direction we go in.
Well, I mean, and then too, you have a great bunch in council. You know, the council members and council women, you know.
They do a wonderful job.
Yeah, they do.
They do. You know, we have some spirited discussions periodically.
Yeah, but, you know, at the end of the day, you guys are making progress. You're doing what you're doing and, you know, making a difference and making an impact on town.
Yep. Most of the votes go to move this city forward, and that's what's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, one of the things that, you know, I kind of heard recently is there's actually a vacancy that by today or by the 27th was the deadline, I guess, for the nomination, correct? Or was it the 17th?
It was the 17th.
My fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was the 17th, and it's in Ward 5.
Yeah.
I think we had 2 folks nominated.
Okay.
So this coming Monday at council, we will give those 2 an opportunity to speak. All right, and then we will take a vote on who's going to replace Mike Mamone in the 5th Ward.
Okay, and that's on the actual vote. The council vote is on the upcoming on February 3rd, I think.
Yeah, February 3rd. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So there'll actually be a final council vote for, you know, naming that replacement on that meeting. Yeah.
It's February 5th.
February.
I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm getting old.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go to the phone.
Here we go.
Let's go to the phone. Okay. February the 6th.
The 6th.
Yes.
We were both off.
Yep, that's the first Monday in February. Okay. February 6th.
Okay. So yep. And then he'll begin his
tenure at that time.
So that's great. That's good news. That's awesome good news. But some more good news that we had recently. I mean, and it's awesome because it got finished up earlier than expected. Was the roadside?
Yeah.
I mean, Roadside Park is a beautiful place now with that lower portion parking lot, the boat ramp, the dragon colors, St. Albans Red Dragon
on
color.
The dock.
On the dock. I mean,
black and red skirt there.
That's
around
awesome.
Yeah. And you know, I got to thank DNR. I got to thank Chapman Technical, the company that. Land Corps that built the structure. They did a fantastic job. They redid the parking lot, just bigger and better. And I'm excited when this weather breaks to see the number of people. They've extended the ramp out, flattened it out a little bit with some riprap so it's not as steep.
Absolutely.
And so it's exciting what's going to happen, and it's going to bring economic prosperity back to St. Albans.
I think it would too, and the rumor has it there might be something of an event planned there pretty soon. I'm kind of dropping a hint, possibly.
Hint?
Yeah, a
okay.
rumor. So we'll fill out the details on something like that later.
Right.
But, are there any notable that you want to mention as far as upcoming 2023 initiatives in town that you kind of want to tease a bit or you can actually talk about at this point?
Well, not nothing real major outside of our festivals. We are adding, I know there's going to be a pub crawl for
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. They're adding that. It was very, very successful last year in October for Halloween, the Crawloween. So they're going to add one for St. Patty's Day. I believe that's on the 11th of March. And, of course, we're going to have Yak Fest. It's going to be bigger and better, and the other festivals are going to be right there. But we also are constantly on the phone talking to people about opening businesses. One of the issues that we do have is locations. Yeah. We don't have a lot of vacant commercial property right now. So, we've got to come up with some more commercial property.
So, speaking of which, how would you, in an ideal world, would you build? Would you acquire? Would you?
Well, there's lots out there that people can build on.
Yeah.
We have one on Old Main. We have a big one there on 6th Avenue, a couple of them on 6th Avenue. One of them right there beside McKinney Chiropractic. That's a huge lot.
Yeah, it's huge.
Be a fantastic place for a business. But also, we are gaining some property through donations on this tearing down of dilapidated buildings. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a big lot at the corner of Washington and Washington. After we tear that old apartment building down, that's going to be a nice size lot. So there's going to be property out there, and we're not looking to make a fortune off of it. We'll have to get something off of it, but people can get it for a good price and build a business and go from there.
Absolutely, and having that resource available, I think, has helped the city because it showcases what the potential is when these vacant lots come open. You have businesses that can now say, oh, yeah, that's a great lot for me to build in and start my business in town or relocate the business in town. Whereas, now the commercial property, like you said, is so few and far between. That opportunity widens when that happens.
Yeah, it does. And the bottom line is we've got to gain more property in St. Albans. We've got to. We've recently had discussions about some annexation down 817. Don't know if it's going to come to fruition, but we sent a proposal up that way, and I haven't heard anything officially, but I'm waiting. If they don't want to go with what we proposed, then give me a counter proposal.
Right.
Right. Let's see what we can work out.
Well, and the beauty of those city council meetings is you have at the end of those meetings, you have basically an open forum for the public to come in and voice their, concerns and ideas and propose and talk about things that annexation, commercial buildings, property and business and all kinds of stuff. You give them that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of opportunity in those council meetings. Yep. To raise a question, to raise a concern, or whatever, so you get the community involved in discussion.
Each person gets 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Of course, when we were discussing the proposal for down 817, one of the councilmen brought up Jefferson, which we'd love to have Jefferson, but there was no official proposal made on Jefferson by any means. But then. Everybody takes to social media, all your keyboard warriors.
Oh boy,
dogging this and that. But let me tell you, bottom line, I've got 2 or 3 businesses up there that want to be in the city.
I've often heard that there are people that say, that's not a bad idea.
No, and anybody that doesn't think coming into the city, service-wise, is better than what they're receiving right now, they're totally wrong.
And we've often touched on that of the benefit that they would get with acquiring city services at their business or residence.
Well,
it makes sense.
$75 a quarter.
I mean,
You get police, fire, public works, parks and rec. I mean, all that's included in $300 a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and some people pay a lot more than that for trash from these other companies that are private.
Absolutely. Well, and two, they become more, I guess, connected with the community versus these outlying areas that may not feel connection with.
Right.
Whether they're a business or residents, connections are important.
Right.
Whether it's an individual, family, or even a community, they are important because they keep you together.
Right. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Most people that oppose it, number one, I don't know if they want the law involved, but they also got to meet city codes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they do. Mm-hmm. And, we wouldn't go in there and rush in there and say, you got to have this done in 30 days or whatever. But over a period of time, we would address the issues and have to deal with it. So, that's neither here or there right now. But I think that St. Albans does need to expand and annex some areas where we can get some more property.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm on that same boat with you. I think it would only benefit both the city and the residents, and the businesses in those areas.
Sure it would.
The resources and the community involvement and stuff like that. It was, it's a win-win, I think, all the way around. So, and again, city council is where it's at. If you want to do, like I said, at the end of that meeting, people that, want to have an opinion and want to raise concerns, you have that opportunity at city council meetings, and they happen first and third Mondays of the month.
Right.
And, the agendas and minutes are actually posted on the website, and you're able to see what's going on and what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So, it's your chance as a community to get involved with your government.
Yes.
Make change, make it happen. Take action and do something.
One of the things too that I want to do with council is Facebook Live or somehow stream it live.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a tech guy like you are. Yeah, Tony. So we've got to look at that, and that gives people that might not be able to get out as conveniently as others to be able to participate through the streaming service.
I think it'd be a good idea because you open up even the audience even wider. You have that ability to reach people that may not have the ability to get there.
Right, I agree with you.
And it meets them on that platform.
Yes,
where they're constantly are at, and transparency.
Sure.
Why not? You be an open government, transparent.
Buddy, we've been as transparent as we possibly can be, and I always will be. And that's what I always say to these keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
you got a problem with me? Come to the office. Let's talk face to face like men do.
Absolutely.
And you might not get the answer you want to get. All right, but we'll sit there and I'll be respectful as long as you're respectful, and we'll talk it out.
Absolutely, and it's a conversation that has progress in mind for an outcome.
Right.
A positive outcome and impact on the community. So that's great. I mean, I applaud it, and I would welcome it, and I would be glad to help you with that initiative as far as, live stream council meetings if you want to walk down that, that path. I think it's a great idea,
we
actually.
Do. Yeah.
So, that can be something that we get involved with and talk about. But upcoming events, man, we've got a plethora of stuff coming up planned for the 2023 season. I mean, it's like an event season, like I've mentioned. It just keeps getting bigger and better, and all kinds of stuff. You mentioned pub crawls are coming up. We've got a really cool thing, the Kids Night at Hansford coming up on the 27th down there with Parks at Hansford Community Center. So that's going on the 27th, 7 o'clock through 8:30. Of course, you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the ribbon cutting at the police station going on the 28th. But let's kind of dig in a little bit with what we talked about this evening. We met, obviously in a Yak Fest meeting, but we've got a Yak Fest date out there. We've got Tour de Cole information out there. You've touched on pub crawls. Let's kind of unwrap it a little bit so people can start getting excited about these upcoming events.
Yeah, we're going to have, as far as I know, there's going to be a Heritage Day. We had one last year, which took place of a Founders Day, and we're not sure of a date on that yet. The committee hasn't decided exactly when they're going to do that, but we're going to have a Heritage Days. Of course, we always have the Fall Y'all Chili Festival, chili cook-off, which is, my gosh, you couldn't hardly move last year.
Yeah.
It was super well attended.
Absolutely.
And some great chili, some great just hanging out with friends, seeing people you hadn't seen in a long time. And, I talked to people from other communities, and they were like, God, I wish our community would do things like this. So, the word's getting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you can always count on Parks and Rec. During January, February, and some of March, there's not a whole lot going on outside due to the weather and everything. But the parks is the one consistent that does things during the winter months. We do them inside, like the Free Kids Night this Friday, January 27th from 7 to 8:30. They have those periodically, and that's always a good time. So there's always something for people to do in town.
Yeah,
right?
Totally agree.
If people say there's nothing to do in St. Albans, then get your head out of the sand.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you're absolutely right on parks. Working with Scott Tweedy, he does an amazing job with keeping the event calendar full with great events that are happening around town. You have all kinds of stuff going on later in the year too. You have Dragonpalooza that they've rescheduled for May 20th.
Yes.
From what I understand, there's also going to be some type of a music event, down at Roadside, and then of course they're going to have the series, the Colesmith concert series that they usually have, music and movie down there. They're going to have all kinds of stuff at the park. Our friend Debbie Keener, she's got her spring trail.
Take a walk on the wild side.
It's going to happen on April 15th, from what I understand.
Tax day.
Yeah, I know. So we'll sweeten that day with a trail hike. But, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and I think, what people really need to be doing is start focusing on the city's events calendar online. I mean, that's where you can find all the information, and we're working on it. We're getting, more information out there for 2023, and you can find that at stalbanswv.com/events. And we're going to start populating it more and adding more events to, fill in 2023. So, keep watching at that page as we build it out.
Yeah, no.
Get more events on it.
You're exactly right. And, again, one of the goals that I had as when I first ran for mayor was it is my job to improve the quality of life of the residents of this community.
Absolutely.
And I think we've done that. Matter of fact, a friend of mine I graduated with, Kenny McCracken, used to be a St. Albans police officer and then went into DEA, was nationally undercover and did a lot of things. He sent me a message the other day. He was just going through some information, and I had forgotten about this. But back in 2019, St. Albans, of the 13 largest cities in West Virginia, 2021, St. Albans was the safest city of the largest cities in West Virginia.
Let's say that again.
Yeah. In 2019 or 2021, I'd have to look at it again. St. Albans was considered the safest city of the 13 largest cities in the state of West Virginia.
That's perfect.
Sure.
And that sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, that means you're doing your job. The community's doing its job. And it makes for a better, safer community.
Sure it does. And it takes everybody, guys. Yeah. Our police, I'll put our police department up against any police department, also the fire department in the state of West Virginia. Mm-hmm. But, every now and then you see something posted on Facebook about a break-in down at Kirk Field. Well, nobody called us. Call us.
Yeah.
We'll follow up. We'll do things to find out who's doing this.
There is a process.
And our guys, and we were talking today, I had lunch with Chief Gilbert and Chief Carney and Cato Moy, who's the new general manager over at the casino. He's wanting to do some community stuff. And Mark was talking. He said one of the reasons that our number's higher than some of the other areas is we answer calls they don't answer. All right. unless something major is going on, we answer every call that comes in to the city.
And I'll add to that, they probably have one of the fastest responses to those calls.
Oh, yes. Yes.
This side of the Mississippi, probably.
They do a great job on that. I know another community watched when we had a situation up in Ordnance Park a couple, 3 years ago, and their chief came over, and afterwards he talked to Mark a couple days later, Gilbert, and said, you guys are on track.
Yeah.
He said, within this minute you had this many officers there, within this minute you had this, and that's what our guys do. They take pride in serving the community, protecting the community, and doing their job to the best of their ability.
And it absolutely helps in recruitment.
Sure it does.
They have that's where that 27th, the January 27th date came from.
Yes.
So that I knew it was connected to something.
That's going to be the PT.
Yeah, the physical training test.
Yeah, and the 27th is the deadline for the applications. Then in early February, I'm not sure the dates. I know one of them's February 4th, I think, is the written or the physical.
Right.
And then they'll have, you got to pass a written, you got to pass a physical. You get past that, then you got to pass the background check. All right, and we lose people in the background check.
I can imagine. Yeah.
They might lie on their application. No, I've never done drugs. But then when they get put under the lie detector, well, guess what?
Yep.
So
out the door that goes.
But it's not like it used to be. When Mark applied, he was talking today. There were like 140 applicants. We're lucky to get 10 or 12 now when we're opening up a position.
I wonder. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what we can do. Is it?
Well, it's a national trend.
It's a national trend.
Yeah, I mean, they started a war on cops several years back.
Okay.
The cops are the bad guys. And for the most part, I'd say 98, 99% of them are good people.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're going to have bad apples in everything.
Well, yeah.
And but let me tell you something. You can say what you want to, but when you need them, they'll be there for you.
Totally agree with you. And it's it's a world of difference to be in a community that's safer, and being a community, I guess, member in a safe community makes it more attractive to stay. And to be more involved and be out and doing things, events, activities, volunteers, stuff like that. So community policing and police efforts, it's important. It's an integral piece of that community, I think.
It really is. And, just bottom line is the average population loss in West Virginia was 3% between the 2010 and 2020 census. St. Albans lost less than 1% of their population, and people understand, and people you talk to that live here and look at the overall picture, they understand how good of a community we have.
Totally agree. So, with that said, it goes back to what you just said about St. Albans being one of the safest places in
West Virginia.
Yep. That speaks volumes. So
that
means that just says we're doing the right things.
Yeah. Makes me proud as can be.
And you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you what, I'll tell this story, then we can end.
Absolutely.
But I know a few years back they had a guy that was wired, and he was calling a guy from another state trying to get him to bring some drugs and make a deal here in St. Albans.
This is getting good.
Yeah. And he kept saying, come on to St. Albans. And then finally the guy looked at him, or on the other end of the phone, said, I'll meet you on 817 or I'll meet you in Jefferson, but I ain't coming to St. Albans. Them boys don't play. They come out of the woodwork. And that's what I want us to be known for.
Yeah. I mean, for that to be recognized, in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That's a testament to what we're doing right now.
It is.
So, but we've got a Mountaineer game to get to, so let's pull this car into the slot and get it going. So, any last closing remarks?
Just guys, this Saturday morning, it's going to be a great time for everybody to see the new police station. It's going to be a great event. St. Albans continues to move forward. And I just ask that God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the great city of St. Albans.
Absolutely. And with that, we've got to think of our producer, Anthony Lewis. He does.
Yay,
He keeps
Anthony.
this thing on track, pushes the buttons, and makes sure that we behave, sound good too.
Where would we be without him?
We do appreciate you, Anthony. And with that said, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next month.